In order to identify student progress in AIMSweb and determine whether or not we're going to be exiting students or adjusting goals in the spring RTI cycle, the first thing that we need to do is go to the Students tab in AIMSweb. You can narrow down by your school on the top here, and you can also narrow down by your caseload over here. And you want to make sure you're in the Students tab. From there, we want to go down your caseload list and determine if students have met their goal on a progress monitoring probe. Some students will have text in their under monitoring that says that they met the goal. In this case, you want to determine whether or not the student is being monitored on or off grade level, and then you would give them the next rigorous benchmark and then adjust their goal accordingly. So for example, this is a first grader who was being assessed on nonsense word and met the nonsense word goal. Since nonsense word for first grade in the winter is actually an SLA, you're going to want to give this student the first grade oral reading benchmark and then adjust her goal using the Cycle 3 Progress Monitoring Goals document. The steps for all different SLA situations are detailed under Situation 1 on the Spring RTI Handbook. If students don't have text listed under their name that says that they met the goal, as this student, for example, you need to click View Report, and you want to look at their progress graph. So I'm going to go ahead and populate the AIM line. And we know that this student has met their progress monitoring goal on a mid-cycle probe because this blank bar indicates the goal. And you can see that the data point is actually above the goal. This data point in February is actually above the goal. So this student met their goal. This is also a first grade student who is being monitored on nonsense word. So they would need to be given the first grade benchmark and then their goal set accordingly. The other two situations, well, the first situation is if students were SLA'd, like the students I showed you, and have met their goal on a progress monitoring probe, you want to give them the next benchmark up. So for example, if students were progress monitored on letter name in kinder, you want to administer the letter sound benchmark and then set the goal using this document. We talked about first grade already. In second through fifth, if students were being progress monitored on a grade level probe below their current grade level and they met the goal, we want to administer the next grade level benchmark and then set the goal using this document. There are a couple ways to see whether or not students were monitored off grade level. So let me just show you that. When you click on a student's name, it will tell you if the student is being monitored off grade. So if the student had actually met her goal on a progress monitoring probe and you needed to double check which grade level she was being monitored, it would tell you right here. So then for this student, if she had met her goal, you would then give her the fourth grade benchmark, set her goal using this document, and then continue tutoring. The other two situations that students may fall into is students who are being progress monitored on grade level, so no more SLAs, but they've met their goal on a progress monitoring probe and their goal was less than the 25th percentile. These students, all we need to do is adjust their goal to the 25th percentile by May 15th. So again, if you identify the students who have met their goal using either the text under their name or using the graph, you can double check what their goal was by clicking on the Manage Monitoring window. So if this student met their goal and the student was not SLA'd and I want to double check if their goal was less than the 25th percentile. I can double check here. This will tell me their goal. So if this student met her goal and her goal was the 5th percentile, then what I'm going to do is go ahead and adjust it to the 25th percentile by May 15th. And so I would adjust it by sliding here, May 15th, and going ahead and adjusting the percentile here. So this situation is for students who met the goal that's less than the 25th percentile, and we just want to bump them up to the 25th percentile so that they're able to exit. The third situation is students who are being progress monitored on grade level and their original goal was the 25th percentile by March 12th. These are going to be those higher students who fell into that 20 to 25th bucket in the winter. And so their goal originally was the 25th percentile by March 12th. And in that case, we're just going to go ahead and exit those students because they're where we need them to be for this year. Again, you can check what their original goal was by clicking on the Manage Monitoring window. And if this student met her goal, I would want to see that her goal was in March and it was the 25th percentile by March 15th. And then I would go ahead and exit this student if those conditions applied to her. The final step after you do all of this identification of students and determine which bucket they fall into, if any, we do need to benchmark students in situation 1 because they're getting a different grade level or different measure benchmark. And we need to benchmark students in situation 3 because they're being exited and we want sort of an end cycle point. So those are the only students who will need to be benchmarked. The students who fall in this bucket just need to have their goal adjusted through that Manage Monitoring window. And after all of this is done, after Data Day, we will continue to tutor on a regular schedule with adjusted groups, of course, because some of your students will have exited by then.